Hello, everyone. Welcome back to one of our fine little live streams. Today's live stream, of course, is going to take place over multiple locations and multiple airplanes throughout the world. As always, if you'd like to join us on this, we are currently located at a lovely, lovely Bora Bora. This is November Tango Tango Bravo. And if you take a look at my right, you get to see some beautiful, beautiful scenery today. So what I wanted to do today, which is a little different than what we typically do as far as our live streams, is I wanted to go through sort of, not my top 5 airplanes, but I look kind of the showcase of airplanes for the year. These are the airplanes that I feel like I've spent a lot of time in, usually not on air, of course, when I do videos and stuff, sometimes these airplanes come up. But these are things that were kind of special or kind of meaningful or kind of what I like to waste my time in when I'm not, building videos or something like that. The first one of these, of course, is the Edgeley Optica, which I can never say. And this seems like a strange choice for an airplane to be like, oh, let's do a general aviation plane. But this one is absolutely perfect for the purposes of flying in virtual reality. And when I look out the window like this, there's no view to obstruct you. And you got this big bubble, like they stole it from one of those old bells or something like that, and they just sort of tossed it on the front. It is a fascinating, fascinating little plane. Not particularly difficult to fly. One thing that's cool is you get a pet. To kind of fly around with you. This is one of the Gottfriend's planes, which are quickly kind of coming sort of the plane company I like the best. I think they do a really, really nice work without being too excessive. And they tend to be very, very performance friendly, all the different aircraft when they do things. And I really appreciate that kind of a piece here. And it's just sort of one of those things. So when I first encountered this particular airplane, this was one of those things. One of my buddy had made a comment on, it's like these airplanes that are good for high observation and making it really, really simple for people to basically look how beautiful that is. Making it very, very easy for people to go ahead and navigate as well as kind of see where they're going and stuff. So this airplane, I'm not going to call it a prototype. They made a few of these. The idea here was that you have a nice little observation airplane for the purposes of kind of keeping an eye on different things, as well as providing unlimited views for folks. Look at my dramatic professional camera work. Allow for kind of unlimited views for people to be able to see without obstruction of the rest of the airplane. So the resultant here gets this goofy looking thing where you have a giant ducted propeller, which is crazy, non-retracting landing gear, a gigantic Hershey bar wing, and the funkiest tail I think I've seen in a really, really, really long time, to kind of combine together to give you, the kind of this particular aircraft that looks a little bit like this, which is, I don't know, in my mind, it's just kind of wild. It's just so different. Like I said, for this one, I really like to spend my time flying kind of just looking out the window, hanging out in VR with it. It is not a fast airplane. It is not remote. Oh, I thought it was just being attacked there. It's not remotely a quick airplane. And in my opinion, it's actually one of the slower airplanes. It doesn't have the climb rate. You have to kind of be careful with the propeller on it because it really likes to overspeed on you unless you kind of overwhelm it, kind of a thing. You can see I'm already well within the red here. Of course, we should probably reduce it just a tiny bit. And it's just kind of the nature of the beast that I kind of get a kick out of planes like this. Of course, location-wise, this is Bora Bora. And for those of you who do not recognize the giant image off my right here, this is about as typical as it possibly can get as far as what people think of this region. One of the things I love, though, is you have this massive, massive, massive kind of island to sort of take the energy out of the ocean. And you just have this beautiful, amazingly blue water just kind of sitting here. You get a good look at it from here, but just the water is just so shallow. And you got everybody in their sailboat down here. And it's just absolutely beautiful, especially if you don't mind steaks. And we're actually an atoll here. There's a bunch of bigger islands. We're actually one of the smallest islands where we're currently located. These are all volcanic. If you kind of head in that general direction, you kind of get a feel for where the other islands are. And for us, like I said, I thought this would be kind of a good place to sort of take off from, enjoy a little ride kind of across, land the airplane, then, of course, go jump to a different part of the world so you can kind of see some of the other things that we're kind of going to take a look at it as well. 2023 has been a very interesting year as far as being a YouTube producer goes. So we've had a couple kind of neat little moments. We crossed a massive threshold this year of 30,000 subscribers. Thank you, all of you. I think I looked earlier this morning. It's like a 31,000, which thank you, Nuclearis, Nuclear Simulator, for that. I could never have done it. And thank you very, very much to that person who gave me that shout out there. That all of a sudden, hello, I've got people now. And it's just kind of one of those shocking things that I almost never expected to actually happen. So I will absolutely take it. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, Max. Hang on. Let me scoot over. I want to look at this window for a minute here. You can also, one of the cool things with this airplane is if you come up to the top, there's actually a button you can click here. You can make it, you can put them on the little floor here, and if you go like this, you got Mato, who's just the kitty cat. Aww. And you click it one more time, and I think it turns into Mato sleeping. Aww. How would you be asleep during this? There's no way Mata would be sleeping right now. Like every time I go like this and he'd float out of the seat, he would not care for that. I like, let's see, which one's the one I like this? That's just fun. And of course, you're throwing off my center of gravity there, so kind of keep that in mind. I like how they call him Kilo here. Again, little details like this, you can get both of them riding with you at the same time, and it does have an impact on the weight of your plane. I don't know, I just get a kick out of little details like that. Completely unnecessary details, but for me, it's just neat. Looking down here, of course, is look at this. Look how awesome that is. The little tiny bungalows, you know, the little kind of a protected area. And you got to imagine everybody in their expensive yacht basically choo-chooing right through there. Good morning, Augustus. And kind of zipping through right there, coming to the little opening. And like you say, I don't even want to know how much one of these places costs per hour. It's probably so excessive. But this is such a beautiful region, and it's just the definition of what this airplane was designed for, is giving you the ability to get a really, really good vantage of everything that you're flying over without, you know, having to deal with helicopters. And trust me, I love helicopters to death. Everybody knows that. And the problem with helicopters, naturally, is they're just very, very difficult to, you have to, like, pay attention. And this thing, I can just kind of let it go and not have to worry about it too much. It's simply a matter of kind of enjoying it. So, there's our lovely little volcano there. Let's see if I can get it here. It is Mount Otemanu, Otemanu, Otemanu. There we go, kind of a thing like that. You got to imagine just how absolutely tropical this is here. Just like the temperature and the humidity and kind of the early moon. This is called the Edgeley Optica Augustus, just in case you missed that earlier there. But this is just such a neat plane. It is so bizarre, and it's really cost effective. And if you're looking for something that's not fast but has great visibility for VR, this is absolutely, I think, one of my favorites. And it's one of the reasons why I'm opening with it today. I don't necessarily recommend traveling long distances with it. I think, let me look down here. We do have an autopilot on it, and it's fine. It works, but like, I never really go distances. Usually what I do is, like, if I've driven somewhere, I'll get this plane out and actually kind of fly around that particular region with it, just to kind of like, oh yeah, there's that little building I saw, or there's the shopping mall that I saw, or, you know, kind of one of those sort of things, as I'm sort of zipping through it and sort of experiencing kind of the different places sort of around that place. And it's just, like I said, a really neat plane for that purpose, but I would not want to go far with it. I think, like I said, the best cruise you can get on this thing, let's see, we're at 2,600 RPM. I'll level off here and see what we can get a cruise out of it. It's not going to be that fast. I think you can get about $1, maybe 90 knots, maybe 100 knots. It really depends on altitude, like anything. Give it a couple taps of downward trim here. See if I can get this in level. It's very easy to fly, though. It does want to pull to the left, but welcome to flying. That's just what happens. Pull the RPM back. Obviously, we're not supposed to be in the yellow when we're flying. Yeah, it is. It's a cat and a dog. It's Mato and Kilo. Just a kind of one of those things. Like, people miss little stuff like this. And like I said, I like things like that. Yeah, we're getting about 95, which isn't terrible. And I'm sure if I did a little GPS over here, we could probably get a little bit more out of it. Yeah, 93, 94. That's pretty average for this thing. One thing that I like to do with it is keep them not turbocharged or anything like that. This is really an observation plane, and that's really what it's good at. We're just going to kind of come around and head back from which we came, and then we'll get ready for landing at our new location here. I'm actually going to go right through the middle here. It's just such good visibility, and it's got a nice bubble. It's just, I don't know. This is such a neat plane, and it was one of those, I'm so glad I picked it up. There's actually another company that makes the same airplane that you can get on the Flight Sim store. Don't ask me who it is. This is the Got Friends version. Like I said, they do a nice job. There actually is a mod out there, Stefan. I forget what the name. Stefan, sorry. I forget what the name of the mod is, but there's this really, really cool mod that adds like 1,000 different co-pilots that you can have. It's not 1,000, obviously. It's like 20, but there's so many neat co-pilots and pilot avatars. Like, I think I set mine to like whatever her name is, and she's been my pilot this whole time, and like I can't change it because it's the one that I got first. So just kind of one of those things. It's just such a beautiful region here. Yeah. We should say hello to people following us today. Simon, I see you back there. Great to see you again. Great to see you again. Sorry we missed you last time. And again, anybody who wants to join us, we're going to be heading up to a different part of the world in a moment. And that'll be pretty slick in a second. Hey, good morning, Heat My Shirts. A nice little tap. There's our lovely little runway there. And we're just going to slow down. Landing this thing in VR, for whatever reason, I have such a problem with it because of the fact that you're so far ahead of the point of rotation. You're actually, like, if you look at this, you're almost like kind of below where the wheels are. So like when you come in, it's got this really, really weird thing. I pay a fortune for my dog and put that in the Christmas. That's so much fun. Like I say, why not, right? I mean, if you're going to have some fun little details like this, have fun little details. Of course, I go like this with the plane, and they are the world's most relaxed pets. I would know, well, my dog would be freaking out. As long as I kept the plane steady, the hum would probably put him to sleep, but I'm sure Mr. Max there, he would need probably I would have my wife there. She'd have a blanket on her legs. Max would just be sitting there, rubbing his ears every once in a while. He'd go, kind of a thing like that, and then he'd go back and take a nap and kind of forget about everything that's going on. I've got a great dog. He's getting a little older, but like I said, he's just the nicest little guy. And during the summer, of course, I walk his little legs off, so he spends like the entire summer just completely sane. Oh, excellent, Simon. We were looking at doing a cruise. We were actually looking at doing Iceland, like I said in my last live stream, but it just wasn't going to happen. Just kind of one of those things where it's kind of the universe saying, I wouldn't do it kind of a thing. So I said, all right, universe, I respect things. I know when I've been beat, so to speak. The flaps on this thing are incredibly effective, by the way. You can see how far down they drop. And you can take this thing down to, I can go 45 reliably in this if I had to. It's going to be a little hard in the engine, but like it just gives you an idea of the incredible short fieldness on this one. Yeah. I like my dog, though. Like I said, it's Mr. Sniff. I always call him that, or Dr. Sniff, because like if it stinks or it needs to be smelled, he's there for you. And he's always a fun dog too, because like he's a little Schnauzer, Cairn Terrier, Chihuahua mix. Like this, he looked like an old man since he was like 9 months. We actually got him as a rescue. We got him out of Biloxi. His name back then was Scruffy Mo. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, kind of a thing. I'll pull up a picture later on, but that would require a little bit of fancy footwork on my part. So I'm going to hold off on this. Watch how goofy the approach on this thing is. So right now I'm like pitched down, but it doesn't feel like it. You know what I mean? I feel kind of flat. But like I said, because we're below our wheels, it's going to have a very odd when we get down to the end of the runway here. Give it just a couple RPM. Look at this thing. It just comes down so flat. You can just give it a little bit of power. Love it. Love it. He is, though. If it stinks or it needs to be smelled, he's your guy. You have to, like, always soft field this thing. Oh! Got it. You can see how much work that is. All right, so that is it for Bora Bora. Our next generation, we're going to be going to Lima, Golf, Lima, Mike. So I'm going to give everybody a warning. Lima, Golf, Lima, Mike. Lima, Golf, Lima, Mike with float plane. Oh, hey! I finally just got an achievement. I love that. All right, let's head back to the main menu real quick. That was a lucky landing. I can't do that in VR. I cannot get the head space right on that one. So now we're going to go visit another one of my airplanes and another one of these lovely points. Like I said, we're going to be heading to Lima Golf, Lima Mike next. And it's going to be a slightly different plane this time. D-O. Ha ha ha! Probably didn't see this airplane coming next, but that's fine. I'm going to leave it pretty light here. Let's see, Lima Golf, Lima Mike is going to be Limos, and we're going to be over in Greece next. To go ahead and change the time of day here. Yes, we can't take off from this, but that's okay because it doesn't really matter. I'm going to drag this thing into the water right next to us anyway, so I'm not worried about it too much. So, of course, we had that one. It's amphibian. This one, I'm taking off on water with this one. Sorry if I missed that. I like a thing like that. Also, keep in mind with the landings in Flight Sim, I've complained about this before. Both X-Plane and Flight Sim have the same issue where when you're coming in for a landing, I kid you not, the last 4 feet of a landing is like the hardest part of the landing. Everything else is actually very, very easy to do. But basically what you have is, of course, you can all watch. This, I guess, is where you're supposed to put like the advertisement in or something like that. But the last 4 or 5 feet of a landing, I've never seen a Flight Sim get this right. It's dramatic. You have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of kind of manipulating the controls and all those kind of things like that. Thank you, Aviator. I appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go to Y mode here. I think the ocean's over here, so I'm just going to choo-choo through the ocean, go swimming. Here we go. This looks a little bit low enough. Boom. I actually got to turn the volume down because I'm absolutely deaf when I get to this one, kind of a thing like that. So anyway, like I was saying, this was kind of a neat opportunity. So Lima Golf, Lima Mike. So this one is a little different. Do you do Steam? I'd like to add you. Aviator, I actually have a thing against that. If it's okay with you, I'd rather not give out any Steam information because I'm a teacher and students watch the streams and I don't want them to, you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of walk around this plane as everybody shows up. This is the first plane I've ever flown that has a engine room in it. If you did not see my video on this one earlier, this is the Dornier 10. This is a gigantic flying boat. And like, I kid you not, like, look at the controls on this thing. It's absurd, like absolutely absurd. And one of the things I have to actually do is you'll notice I'm only getting a half my throttles when I push it forward. Where's my throttles on this thing? I'm only getting half my power. What I actually have to do is I have to go into my controls and I have to tell my controls that I'm using this airplane. Otherwise, I get kind of busted. So if I go to my preset manager, let's see here, duplicate, I don't want to do that. Escape, go back, go back. I have to actually go to my actual control stick kind of a thing like that. You can see all the cool things I have for this goes. Let's see here. I need to open, let's see here. You did not delete all my, oh, sorry, I'm being stupid. That's not the one I wanted to change. What I wanted to change was my throttle. Of course, okay, so you grab the wrong thing every time. Edited for Dornier. As you can see, I actually have a preset for this. Aha, now I'm good to go. Ah, look at this. I love this thing. And look at the engines. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 engines. And the takeoff on this thing is dumb. What you do is you push the throttles all the way forward and you push the button. This is a timer, and you basically wait around for this thing to get in the air. And of course, this little hatch. Ah. All right, there we go. I mean, like, what the heck? The people upstairs are kind of doing their thing. It's such an absurd plane. And look at this. I think, because bottle to the throttle and all that kind of stuff like that. It's so funny because, like, it's just go. And then, of course, the plane just goes on its own. And look at that. Look at it. Isn't it ridiculous? Oh, my gosh. So anyway, we're here in Limnos. This is off the coast of Greece. One of the persons I work with. Isn't this fantastic? No autopilot, though. You got to do everything by hand on this one. Also, I love the airspeed indicator. I know, right? So welcome to Limnos. This is one of the Grecian islands here. The reason I picked this island is because one of my games that I have more hours in than I care to admit is a game I've never done a video on, of course, which is actually Arma 3. I played the original Operation Flashpoint back in 1999. That's how old that game is now. Sir, Soldier, 50. Boop, boop. Everybody knows that game for those. And of course, there was a lovely little island called Malden. And Malden was one of the ones that you had in the Resistance expansion. And it was kind of a neat game and kind of a neat expansion and everything along those lines. And I enjoyed it. And of course, I just like playing with the map editor. Like, that's all I do is play with map editors. Honestly, if there was map editor, the game, that's what I would play. But when Arma 3 came out, the default island there, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of that island, is this island. And basically, they just kind of like dressed it up a little bit differently. And when I was sitting there going, oh, we got to go ahead and set this thing up so that we can experience, sort of this island and come up with a neat way to do it. I'm like, let's get this Dornier 10 here and go ahead and fly around kind of this thing. But it's like, you have no idea. I know, right? The original Flashpoint was fantastic. Let's see if I can get this door open. I gotta go back to the radio room and make a phone call. Here we go. Beep, 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 beep. All right, there's my phone call. We're good to go. Much better. Let me go ahead to the auxiliary room. We gotta get down here. Here we are. I can get my little auxiliary engine back here. Yeah, I can go ahead and start that thing too if I need to. Yeah, you know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna get back up front. Again, there's no autopilot on this thing, so unfortunately, we're very much at the mercy of, whatever the heck I'm not paying attention to at that particular moment. By the way, this window opens, which I think is fun. This thing has a tugboat, by the way, and I didn't pull out the tugboat. Again, I have a video on this plane if you want to see me goofing around with it. Yes, Everon, kind of a thing like that. Those were fun times. But, of course, when it comes to flying boats, there's actually a lot of flying boats on the Steam library now, or not the Steam library. There would be on the Microsoft Flight Simulator marketplace, and they're all pretty cool. Like I said, I like this one because it's chunky and weird. Like, as you can tell, I love chunky and weird planes. Like, this is very much a chunky and weird plane. And I mean, like, the instrumentation, like, they put holes in everything in order to make it open. But look at this. I have a little thing to control the tugboat from here. Let's. And it's just kind of a fun piece like that. I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy things like this. Anyway, going back to Limnos here. Of course, I've never been to Greece. I've always wanted to take a cruise in Greece. It's one of those things that's definitely on my bucket list to do. Somebody who's important, of course, as everybody knows, I do stuff for Command Modern Operations. Our good head of Command Modern Operations, the person who sort of runs the show, so to speak, is based out this way. I don't know if I'm pretty sure he's not in Limnos here. But one of the cool things with that, of course, is he's always, you come by, sort of thing. Always wanted to meet you. I'm like kind of afraid because, like, I don't don't even know what the chap looks like, kind of a thing like that. So it's like one of those, like, oh, one of these days I'll finally get the opportunity. But going back to Arma 3, of course, we wouldn't have this airplane in Arma 3. That would be just not a thing. If anything, it'd be the A-10 or something like that. Or whatever the heck they call it, that futuristic version of it. It was always fun because that game was basically a walking simulator, or in my opinion, steal the first thing that drives simulator and drive it for 45 minutes and still have no idea where you are. You know, it's just a kind of one of those things. And like, I enjoyed that kind of a game because you can kind of do whatever you wanted, but like, it's tedious, and like the way they engineered the saving and like how you could go back and forth to missions, it took too much, kind of a thing like that. Thanks, Big Adcom. Just climb on, it's good. Oh, got somebody retract. That's okay though. And it's just like I said, absolutely wild. And like I enjoyed the game, but like this is a big island to have to run around as an infantry soldier on, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oof, kind of a thing, doing these sort of missions. But I enjoy these things, and honestly, I can't tell you how many times I load a game up like this, like Arma 3, for example, and I literally just drive around and kind of soak it in. And of course, this is the wrong plane for this. We should be like in Netherlands or something like that, but that's okay. And just seeing all the details. Uh-oh, what's that? I'd have to go push a button, but I'll deal with that another time, kind of a thing. All right, let's see if anybody's joined us here. SDO, welcome. Simon, welcome. You're keeping up with me, no problem. This is a gigantic... Look at the size of this thing. It's kind of a cool picture. I'll take that picture right there. And a BN Mark II, of course, is the Islander, which is a really, really cool plane. Now, of course, we have to get this thing back on the ground so we can move on to our next airplane here. And I just love how it's just anti-fast. I think, what do we have here? We're doing, we got, let's see, Fout, 20, we're getting 190 farts here, so not too bad. Fout, I never get that one right. I've made this joke a million times, so I'm not going to comment on it again, but let's just say my dad, when he got to Germany the first time, was very confused by the Autobahn in a hilarious sort of a way. I haven't played Reforger yet. Like I said, I haven't got a chance to do it. It's multiplayer only, and I don't do competitive multiplayer. It's not for me. As you probably noticed, that's just not my thing. I like co-op, and I just got started with Generation Zero last night. My brother bought it for me, and of course I grabbed my wife, and we were running around the Swedish icy cold countryside playing the Hunter, but against giant metal robots, so I'm fine with that kind of a thing. And it's a neat game, Love this part of the island. It's all mountainous compared to the rest. All right, let's land. Engine room, give me half power. Bring! Kind of a thing like that. So we'll give them an opportunity to kind of reduce that and kind of settle us down. What time is it, Germany? Oh, let's see, it's 11:50. It's not that time. We'll just start settling downwards, down towards the water here. I love how like the controls, like they don't get heavy. I'm not force feedback or anything like that. But like, look at this thing. It's like a wooden steering wheel with a little chain. I love it. Again, no hydraulics. Like it just YOLO driving or YOLO flying or kind of a thing like that. Another game that I really loved the heck out of just driving was Test Drive Unlimited. They made a couple of those, and it was pretty fun because the first one, like, I've covered every inch of that island with like every vehicle in the game. Like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of miles I drove in Test Drive Unlimited. And then TDU 2 came out, of course, and the most competitive racing in the world was getting the Volkswagen Bug with 25 horsepower and racing on a racetrack. You never let go of the gas the whole time. You never touch the brake once. It's just kind of one of those things, you know. Let it slowly slow down. Now, one thing I will say about the Arma 3 there, and actually Operation Flashpoint, if you want to go all the way back, was it's got this obsession with East versus West. You know, that's not really where wars are fought these days. Everything is a proxy war, and it's different. It's not East versus West. It's its own thing, kind of a thing. It's kind of one of those things. I love this thing. Try to get this thing to land. I also like how it's got the old support floats here because they have to put all the struts off of something on this. And it's just like, well, they got to put it somewhere, kind of a thing like that. Speaking of which, let me go downstairs real quick. There's actually another plane just like this that I like to fly, but I did not fly it today. Ah, there we are. I say, whoa, shouldn't be rude. But one of the things is you know, yeah, like you're going to be able to put those out like that and not crash or cause all sorts of problems. I mean, if I go like this, negative G's, all that tea would be all over my lap right now. It would just be an absolute disaster. I also like the fact there's nothing kind of holding down until you get to the back here, kind of a thing. We're on the ECUSA server, by the way, for those of you who missed that one a little bit earlier. This is just such a cool plane, and I've flown it a lot. I want to like it better, but the one thing that kills it for me is the VR performance is not great. There's just too much airplane here, so I think that really affects it. And like I say, not that I should ever judge things in VR performance. It really shouldn't matter that much, but it is something that I do take into account because, you know, it's really, really fun on my own. I would never do a live stream in VR because I couldn't see anything. I know that doesn't sound right, but it's absolutely true. If you look at the history of this plane, by the way, it's very, very fun to read. Isn't it great? Like I said, I love stuff like this. And I have, like I said, a whole video on it if you want to go track the Dornier X or the Dornier 10, kind of a thing like that. There's a whole process to get this thing started. It's so tricky because you have to advance the spark and everything like that. Love the rodeo loop there for the ADF. Old school. No, they're not. I love it, though. And I'm not going to slip this plane. So I hate landing planes like this because you're up so high. Like, if you look, I'm really on a ship here. I'm a ship that somebody put a wing and 12 engines onto, kind of a thing, which makes it very awkward to land. But the kind of gist here is you just fly into the water, and that's how everybody does float plane landings. Like, that's just kind of the trick here. And then we'll get ready to go somewhere else. Like, this is perfect. If I just hold it here and just did not touch the controls until I hear the kersplash, we're pretty much good to go. Because basically you're bleeding off the last bit of speed. But notice how it looks like I'm in the water, but I'm actually still 25 feet up, kind of a thing like that. I have too many of these kilometer per hours inside of this airplane. And you don't really flare a float plane, you just sink into the water, like that. And then the other thing you don't get in flight sim that the real planes do is when you hit the water like this, it's whoosh, and just stops. Like, there's none of this, like, skid stuff across the runway here. It's just kind of one of those things. All right, we're moving. All right, so our next destination is going to be Victor, Tango, Charlie, Tango. I am sorry for the confusion on that one, Simon. Like I said, when I originally grabbed it, I grabbed Royal Thai Air Force. That was not my goal. So my apologies for anybody who was confused by that. Again, we'll meet you at Victor, Tango, Charlie, Tango. Get the fastest military jet plane you have. Because I promise you this next one will be a bit of a challenge to keep up with. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. And it might not be the one that you expected, which is what I think is always kind of amusing kind of a thing. So we'll go on kind of get, look at that nice winter countryside. All right, so let's get all squared away. I'm going to do Victor, Tango, Charlie, Tango. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to type in F4. Uh-oh, that would be fun. I don't want that one. I want this one. I don't know if anybody expected to see this one, but here it is. Of course, I love the Iranic Air Force here. Iranic. It's like ironic. There we go. That's the color. That is Iranian. Oh, I guess I'm stuck with the tactical fighter wing here, but this is a German one. That looks good to me. Looks good to me. All right, so Victor, Tango, Charlie, Tango. Boop, boop, Shirai. I think you had a feeling what I was going to do as soon as I mentioned where the destination was going to be. So everybody, go ahead and grab your fastest military aircraft. I will meet you, like I said, Victor, Tango, Charlie, Tango. We've got a little bit of fun to do. So my next airplane on my list, I had to pick a military airplane, and I had to pick one that hopefully is a bit of a surprise to some folks. I did not expect it. This one is, when I think of Cold War airplanes, I have like my top collection. First one, of course, the tippy top is going to be the you could say the F-16. It's technically Cold War. The F-104, because it was just such a brute force airplane. The other one, of course, I absolutely loved. I love the F-100. I love the F-86. I have a soft spot for the F-80, even though it's not the greatest airplane. But when it comes to what's a Cold War plane that you absolutely love, hello, we get the F-4 Phantom. This thing, I can't get over this plane. It's just so much airplane. It's a two-seater. It's overly complicated. The performance on it is so-so. I mean, it's got decent, it's got a lot of engine power on it. It's just like too complicated for its own good. And I love that. And everybody who knows me knows that I love things like this. Like, this is me. Like, my favorite thing in the world is coming back here and tweaking knobs and pulling handles and clicking things and turning on the RWR and adjusting the frequency and coming back here and fiddling with the stick and then changing the displays and taking 45 minutes to try to get all the radar to be done correctly. Yes, we are definitely waiting for the DCS-F4. You'll get a video on that. I love stuff like that. I love, like, to set the mode for the bombs, I reach over here and I have to go click, click, click. You know, set the mode that I want, come down here, station select, set that. It has an inertial navigation unit. The throttle on this thing is just, I don't want to call it non-functional, it's just chunky. I mean, you've got the oxygen system on here. Everywhere you look, there's a button. This is the kinds of airplanes I really love. And of course, I like how they did all this. I like how they did a little radar display. There's actually, I kid you not, air-to-ground mode in this radar. We can actually see the ground on this thing, which, like I said, I was going to tickle with that. And of course, we're Phantom, so you have to put the fear on all the way. And it was just one of those early days where, like, this is such a brute force airplane. You know, anytime you have to make compromises in design, I love. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's It's actually not that much acceleration. I won't overact here. But we ripped down the runway. They have one of these in X-Plane, of course, and I spent plenty of time flying around this region in X-Plane because, whoa, until DCS comes out with Vietnam, which I would absolutely love someday to see. And I've heard some rumors. This would definitely be something very high on my list. I actually pre-ordered the DCS F4 as well because I'm absolutely loved. What just passed me? How did you do that? Are you time acceleration? Look at this thing go. Oh, you think the frequency change is approved, huh? I'm positively deafened right now. I have my volume on 2 out of, 100, and it's still loud. Of course, I'm wearing headphones, kind of thing like that. So let's get going. Now that we've got airborne, and I'll go ahead and swing here and take my nice gentle left turn. Oh, this thing is such a pig. And I don't mean that sort of like in the nice sort of way. It's so heavy. Like, when you go to pull back on the stick, it is nothing like an F-16 where it's like, kind of a thing. It is very much, you give a tug on it, and you're suggesting for it to travel in that direction. No, I did not copy, because I'm not interested in your frequency changes right now. What I will do to help everybody out, though, is I'm going to significantly reduce the volume of the actual feed, because I don't want to deafen anybody. I know this plane is really, 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 really loud. Now, it's kind of a thing. Oh, an F-18 wants to turn with me. You're not going to be able to turn with this thing. Actually, what am I saying? An F-18 would run circles around me. I'd be pretty hopeless. But one of the things I can't believe is this is Cold War technology. I'm 1.05 here over the speed of sound. I'm climbing like that. And remember, this thing is late 50s technology. This is not like an F-18. This is not an F-16. It's not an F-104. It is, kind of what they had at the time, kind of a thing. And of course, I roll out of here, doing 0.9 here, getting moving real fast. Just push the nose down. Look at that. Into the stratosphere where the air is rarefied. As everybody knows the song, I'm sure, kind of a thing like that. Give it a couple taps like that. Give myself a nice and leveled off. Again, it does not take much. And we're going to go ahead and pull out a burner here, because that's it. Okay, gotcha. Nice. So that was easy. So now, of course, I can come over here. I can turn on the air-to-ground radar. Check this out. Boop. And if I want to play the game, I can sit here and if it's with, I don't want to play with that. I don't want to play with this. And we got a good look of if I zoom out far enough. I think I zoom in the wrong way here. Zoom in all the way. You can see my little target airfields and stuff like that. And I can get a good feel of sort of the whole environment. And of course, we just took off from the middle of Thailand here. So if we keep heading this way, eventually we're going to get ourselves up to Vietnam. We're getting there, kind of a thing. So I'm at 37,000 feet. Obviously, we're an unloaded Phantom, so there's not a lot going here, but it's just effortless, just climbs, even though the technology is as old as it is. And like I said, it's so fascinating. This one I actually picked up. We'll have a video on this one coming up next week, kind of a thing like that, because I love this plane. Just a lot of cool things to go with it. But one of the coolest things about this plane, and I love this, is if you push the throttle all the way forward, it's just so many design mistakes and compromises just in the shape of the plane. And look where they decided to put the gub. Oh yeah, Yamaz, you're not keeping up with me. But watch this. And I feel sorry for everybody who's going to attempt to catch up with me here, because you're not going to succeed. You can try. But the way this thing accelerates is, you can see, I'll look down on my speedometer here. It's not it. It's an airspeed indicator. There's Mach 1. And this is almost like an F-104, to be honest. It just goes, and then it doesn't want to stop. Of course, it gets really, really odd to handle at this speed and this kind of power here, but that's okay. It's welcome to the Machs, kind of a thing. The top speed of an F4, of course, is 2.2, because we have no external fuel tanks or munitions or anything to slow us down. And as you can see, it just accelerates. No drama. It just goes, just continually accelerates. And as long as I don't get too strong on the controls here, I'll be able to hold this pretty steady at about 36,000 feet there. There's 1.2. Like I said, I'm not accelerating time or anything like that. I'm just letting it accelerate naturally. And it tends to run away from you once you get up to 1.2. So if you look at my acceleration, it's just going up, going up, and going up. And the neat thing is, of course, is trying to get this thing on the ground is the biggest project you've ever actually tried to do. And we will do it on the ground, because obviously I could give it full power and we could zip over, go say hi to Haiphong, and turn around and come back in 20 minutes. Like, it's that fast. But like I said, we don't want to go too long on this airplane. That's just so fascinating. It's been required the most attention so far. And you can see, we're doing 1.3. We're getting there. Of course, if you look at my fuel consumption, I started with 11. I'm currently at 8. Gotta love 2 J79s. It's definitely, if your goal was fuel economy, you're not going to get it, kind of a thing like that. And of course, anybody in NF18 trying to keep up with me, you're not going to be able to, because you guys are going to top out about 1.8. I don't top out at 1.8. I keep accelerating. Ah, it's so fun. It's so fast. All right, let's go find somewhere to land, because I could just, like I said, fly full speed at this thing all afternoon. Let's see, VL Lima Lima Bravo, or do you want Vima Lima Sierra Bravo? We're going to head over there. That sounds good to me. I'm going to adjust my scale here. I like how the radar also shows where like targets are, where you can land. Kind of a nice touch. What do we got here? We're doing 1.5. That's enough. That's enough. You know what plane I don't fly ever? It's actually, you know, the Aurora, the one that they gave us, that super duper duper sonic airplane a little while ago, and that everybody was so obsessed with, and you see a multiplayer all the time. Not a big fan of that plane. I think I've flown it like for videos. I don't think I've ever actually just flown it to fly it, because I find it kind of dumb. Look at how fast we're approaching the target, by the way. We're going to have to do a very, very, very aggressive brake to basically come back down here. Look at how fast we're going. This is awesome. Who needs modern technology when you have this? And the incredible thing is there's many air forces that still fly one of these because it is their capable. There's our destination, by the way, the one that we just ripped by at full speed. All right, 1.8, fast enough. Oh, let's pull the throttle back. And there's the speed of sound. Oh, yeah, there it is. How y'all doing? Oh, boy. Okay. Woo! Notice my engine's off, but I'm still at 1.8. We're moving. Yeehaw! I always like it when your ground speed is listed as something over 1,000, because normally I'm a general aviation guy. My ground speed, when it's over 100, I've had a good day. When it's over 1,000, something's broken. Just kind of one of those things. Uh-oh, getting past. All right, we'll go. Fight's on. Let's give him a lag, give him a lag. He's a little slower than me. We'll pull back. Woohoo! Ah, fun times. Alright, I guess this is a very, very long straight-on approach, but that's okay. Look at the mountain range here. You get lost in those mountains, they'll never find you again. One thing that's kind of fun. Now, you can't really do that in Flight Sim, but other simulators, you can kind of float outside of the cockpit, and you can do all really, really goofy things like that. Now, one thing they did add in Flight Sim, somebody was mentioning a few minutes ago, is there actually is a MiG-21 out there. And the MiG-21, I've always been super tempted to pick it up, but I never actually picked it up. And the reason I never actually picked it up is because, like, I've seen what it looks like, and I'm not thrilled, and I have a DCS one. And the other thing with the MiG-21 nobody tells you is its range is good to the end of the runway. It's like most Russian point defense interceptors. Just range is not a strong point of those kinds of planes. Just kind of figuring out where we got to come down here. Should be right there on my... I should be able to see it by now. I like how it has the Microsoft Flight Simulator, this thing, the oscillation. You don't have that problem in a real plane. The controls are too stiff at these speeds. Not touching it. Get a little bit of turbulence, but nothing too bad. Let's see here. Excuse me while I get everything all set up here. Trying to get my landing. My landing will be bad, by the way. This plane is a very different experience to land than everything else we've hit the water with today. Should be right where the highway is. I'm going to find it. First one to see the runway wins, obviously. Now, why don't we check our radar? Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, it's that one right there. Right on the center. Delightful. Right there. There we go. Now, my friend always says it's a fun approach. You know, what he'll do is he'll basically take the plane at a really high altitude and he'll put it into a snap spin, come out of the spin on final approach. I'm not going to try that because I don't trust the physics in Flight Sim. It's a little tricky, but that's okay. I could do that in DCS. I don't think I trust myself in Flight Sim to do that. Look at the mountains in this region. They're absolutely incredible. Ah, it's much quieter up here than it is down there. Just trying to spot where we're coming. It should be pretty easy to see from this point. Just look at how fast we're going. Turns out that it's not like a little locals runway. It's not like a real professional runway. There it is. Woohoo! Is it getting dark or is it just me? Bit of 15G to pull there. It's probably not healthy. Well, I would have taken the wings off, and I probably would have killed myself, but oh well. Hey, mister. This is what I hate about the Phantom. Oh. Oh, man, that was fun. Guess who's coming in too high, too fast? Did you know you can slip a Phantom? Because I didn't. I'm going to have to do a Phantom approach here. Our next destination, by the way, for those of you who like to get all nice and loaded up for where we're coming to next, we're going to be SVMC with a helicopter. Sierra Victor Mike Charlie with a helicopter. Oh, that runway's too short for us. Oh, that's too short. Oh well. Nobody said it had to be a good landing. We're here. Whoops. I think I just missed the end of the runway. I probably took off half the lights there. Woo! Yep, not recommended to find a random airport to land at. Definitely not with one of these. Of course, I had the parachute. I could probably have gotten away with it safely, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to go head out to our next destination. It's going to be Sierra Victor Mike Charlie. Sierra Victor Mike Charlie, for anybody who'd like to kind of join us there. And I'll go ahead and get everything all set up here. So now we're going to transition to a helicopter. So anybody who has inverted controls or anything like that, this is a good time to go double check to make sure those are all set. So let's go get this. People are going to be like, oh, it's going to be the dramatic helicopter he's going to pick. And we'll say that in a second. We're going to, of course, Maracaibo, which is way over here in Venezuela. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. Oh, Colombia, sorry, not Venezuela. I'll come into here, come into aircraft selection, and everybody's going to be like, oh, what helicopter is he going to pick? What helicopter? Don't worry, it's probably what you expected it to be. And rotorcraft. This one. What? The Cabri G2? I expected something fancy. No, not fancy at all. Now, when it comes to helicopters, this has definitely been a year of helicopters for us. And we've had a lot of success with helicopter videos and things like that, which has always been great. And it's one of those pieces. I love helicopters. As I've told people in the past, my dream job was to actually be a helicopter pilot for the Coast Guard. Back when I was in high school, that was my dream. That's what I wanted. It didn't happen. Things turned out pretty well for me, regardless of that not happening. But that was perfectly fine because I still get to fly my helicopters. Only the difference here is you don't have to stress about some of the shenanigans that kind of go along with it, kind of a piece. So let's go ahead and get airborne here. I always forget this is a European helicopter, so it's right foot, not left foot. So it's kind of one of those things that it's just kind of a thing. So helicopters are very, 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 very different enough. Microsoft doesn't do helicopters. What's the best way to describe Microsoft helicopters? Microsoft helicopters are hard to fly for people who fly helicopters, and it's really easy for people who are flying Xbox controllers. They really, really design the controls to be so harmonized, so still, so relaxed. It almost looks like I'm paused right now. But it's really because of the way that they've dampened the controls, and they kind of make it seem seamless. It's just, I'm sorry, but it's not realistic. That's just not how helicopters really are in the real world. Helicopters in the real world, hey, how you doing? Are these like uncontrollable twitch monsters. And I'm not talking about Twitch, the monster. I'm talking, Twitch, because, Twitch kind of a thing like that. And one of those things is it does not simulate that correctly. The only game out there that, in my opinion, gets helicopters the way that I know helicopters is going to be things like DCS or even X-Plane. There's a great X-Plane 10 edition back in the old days for a Robinson R22 helicopter. And the R22, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the R22, it's a little tiny helicopter by Robinson. It has a it's a piston engine in the back, no turbine or anything like that. And the performance on it is terrible. It's such bad performance. One of the maneuvers that you actually learn in the early days of flight training is how to take off while still being on the ground. isn't a skid takeoff, and a skid landing where you have to land the helicopter basically almost like an airplane so that you don't overuse the engine because you have like a limitation of like 20 inches of mercury or something. Like it's a really, really low red line for power usage on it so you don't overheat because you're a helicopter. So like what I just did a minute ago where I hovered there in a mid-flight and just kind of chilled, I couldn't do that in a Robinson with another person in the helicopter unless it was the middle of the winter. Like you wouldn't have enough like let's go to actually be able to safely get it. But over an X-plane, they actually had a simulation of one of these R-22s kind of a thing. And it was a really, really good simulation. It absolutely captured how twitchy a real-world helicopter is. And a flight sim does not understand that. And it's just, I get it. You're trying to do what's flyable and usable, but like you're missing out on like actually building up the discipline of like holding hovers and stuff like that. It's not the same thing when like if I let go of the controls, see how it just kind of gently goes oh towards me. No. The other thing that's fun on a helicopter that you don't know, or maybe you do, I don't know, it depends on you obviously, is the fact that in a helicopter your sensitivity increases with speed. So like when an airplane, as we start going fast, the air holds the controls in place and it gets very hard to move the controls. In a helicopter, the faster you go, the easier it is to move the controls. Like there's no pressure at all when you're at your cruise speed. And it's a very, very awkward kind of a thing like that. Freezing and Garmin issues. I don't have any of those, Khalil. I'm not sure. I do have a problem with the Garmin not working. That's a very common problem. Like I get that in a lot of add-on airplanes kind of a thing. Let's go ahead and get this thing all signed up. I'll get to fix my volume because I kind of broke it a minute ago. There we go. It should be better. So what we decided to do is I'm flying here. This is Maracaibo, which is an incredible city. It's absolutely beautiful. One of the reasons I chose this one is because I can't not do South America because it's so nice. Yes, it starts to go. Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, the 787. I don't even know. Like every time they release something, all the add-ons conflict with each other, and you don't realize it until you take them all out, and then your game runs like butter, and you're like, oh, that's nice. So it's just kind of one of those things. That's just kind of what it is. You know, again, this is a Maracaibo. When I think of this area, of course, my brain automatically thinks of the game Mercenaries. I forget the name of it. It's not. It was like Just Cause. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but like you're trying to like run a revolution down this way. And we have the Mercenary. We can't lose. And my brother really enjoyed playing that game. It was up. Frequency change, red 6-4.
Maracaibo Tower, red 6-4 frequency change.
There we go. Just sort of get them to leave me alone. But it was such a fun game because you could take anything. You know, the enemy's strongest tank, okay, you just climb into it and rip the guys out of it. Oh, an enemy helicopter, I'll just use a grappling hook. You know, kind of like a Just Cause kind of a thing. But one of the things I really love about the city is, of course, you have Lake Maracaibo, which is huge. And you got ocean on one side, you have this mega lake on the other side. But it's such a flat city. I mean, like, it's not really like on a mountain or anything, but it's a sprawl that sprawls, and then there's another sprawl on top of that sprawl. But you don't get any of the huge office buildings that people typically think of with cities. And it's just kind of one of those little things like, okay, so you're not allowed to build tall. Just keep adding buildings, sort of a thing. And it just goes on and 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 on in every single one of these directions like this, which for me is just, I don't know, I find that kind of a neat city, sort of a thing like that. I'll go and give it a little bit of work here. Of course, in the real plane, you just give it a little touch to the nose and you'd already be going, whoa, 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 like that. I really wish they'd settle some of that down because I think they not that they overdo it, but it's almost like too much for its own good kind of a thing. I don't know. It's just my opinion on those kind of things. So the nice thing about the city, like I said, it's relatively flat. You've got the west coast, which is the coast we're on. And of course, you have the east coast, which is all that. I just find it so interesting. And it's just a neat place. And of course, you got like the big smokestacks where the power plant is and the coastal one. But one of the things I like about Maracaibo is when you come over here, they're like, well, we have to be able to link the west side to the east side, you know, like the Bosporus in Istanbul. So what do? They just built a bridge, and it's a really, really long bridge. You know, that's kind of one of the things. Yes, this helicopter is fantastic, kind of a thing like that. Yes, it definitely is easy to fly. The 407 is much more exciting than this one, but I like this one because I can fly stupidly with it, and I can't go wrong. I would prefer something to be a little bit more twitchy, but I haven't really found a helicopter on the store that I want. If somebody makes a Comanche, I will buy it the day it comes out. Just saying that for any developers out there who are like, oh, what could be a fun helicopter to make? Comanche, please. Because I haven't flown one of those since the game Comanche 4, which was a ton of fun. So look at the sprawl. Isn't that incredible? It's like LA, but flat. It's just kind of cool. So yes, when it comes to helicopters, this one's definitely not hard. I'm not a fan of the right foot instead of left foot because it's, no offense, it's a different company, so they're going to do a different feat. Hey, Elastic Zach, welcome back. So obviously, different companies are going to have helicopters with, you twist one way, they twist the other way. I'm used to pushing left foot forward to deal with torque, not right foot forward. So it's a small little detail that it's not like a game over detail for me or anything, but it's a little tougher for me to fly this one because my muscle memory is on the other foot. It's just kind of hard to explain, but you would know what I mean if you flew a lot of time in the Robinson over next plane. All right, let's go across our lake here. Head to the other time. I think there's a San Francisco kind of a thing like that. But I just love this bridge. If you want to see a really cool picture, go in Google Images and type in Maracaibo Bridge sunset. And there's some really, really cool pictures just because of the way the light comes in from the kind of west there, and it's really nice. Hey, there's the H-125. We actually tried to do a live stream one time with helicopters, and it caused so many issues with performance. Like, I think it was getting like a slideshow, and everybody was having issues with it. We ended up abandoning it, like using like the Bonanza or something lame like that. The 787. Hey, glad to hear that, Max. Glad to hear that. Like I said, I get lucky sometimes with videos. One of those kind of things. 787 is an interesting airplane, and this is going to sound terrible, but it's boring. I'm not picky or anything like that. Of course, people will be amazed as we fly across a river. Actually, this is a lake. The lake is on that side. The ocean is on my left side here, but that's okay. But like the 787, there's not a lot going on. Once you kind of get it going, it just kind of goes. I mean, with the helicopter, you've always got something to do. And one of the things I remember with X-Plane, actually, I'm going to go pick an X-Plane again, is the fact that they have a helicopter with an autopilot on it. And I didn't think you could do that. Of course, I'd flown the Kamal 50 over in DCS, so of course I've been in a helicopter with an autopilot. It just never occurred to me that you could have an autopilot helicopter. I just thought they were too hard to fly. And one of the things you'll actually see in helicopters is approach hold. You can actually have a helicopter automatically fly an approach. See what I mean? Like, does that hurt your brain or what? It's just kind of one of those things. The traffic on this bridge, by the way, is known to back up the length of the bridge. So for those of you who are keeping track of distances here, you can get an idea, kind of a thing like that. Yeah, I won an MD 500. I've got my eye on that, but I got distracted by other purchases. So I couldn't help myself. There's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, nah, I'm not going to fly another helicopter because, one of those kind of a pieces sort of thing. I love with this helicopter, there's no trim. Even though there's the trim buttons, the trim doesn't do anything, which is disappointing because I can trim a helicopter perfectly. Yeah, you're not wrong. The Kamal 50 is not really a helicopter. It's really Airwolf in disguise. It's a Russian Airwolf helicopter. Now, for those of you who are huge fans of DCS, my personal favorite helicopter is the Gazelle. Everybody hates me for it because they say the flight model's wrong, but everybody they talk to who's actually flown them says it's actually really accurate. People just don't understand that a helicopter doesn't have a lot of inertia if it doesn't weigh anything, and that helicopter doesn't weigh anything. So there's absolutely no concept of inertia in it, and it's absolutely wonderful and fantastic in every way. All right, let's go find a place to set this thing down so we can get to our final airplane today. Like I said, I could fly more over that gigantic sprawl over there, but I want to come over to the East Coast where it's a little bit quieter, kind of a thing like that. He just updated with glass on the panel. Oh, neat. Oh, geez. Ah! Hunting me down here. Nice job, everybody. Nice job, everybody. I pull you into some like ridiculous spin or turn, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to make everybody have to earn their helicopter wings here. Rotors? I love the Gazelle. I love it. It like, remember when you have those dreams where you're flying? Never do this in a helicopter, by the way. You take the tail off. You remember? Oh, look at the toll booth. One of the things is like you have those dreams when you're flying, and like you just glide between buildings and towers and trees and stuff. That's what the Gazelle feels like to fly. This thing is like this big, thick, like SUV compared to a Gazelle. The Gazelle's just, I think where I want to go, and the helicopter just moves in that direction. I don't actually move my hand at any point. So I'll come on, kind of swing around here, give this thing a little bit of a drag. Again, I'm trying to suck some of the energy out of the helicopter. Oh, Toeg's Llama. I'm going to have to go find what this thing is. All right, everybody ready to earn their helicopter skills here? All right, here we go. We're only going to do a little bit of this today because we're getting pretty close to our next airplane, which will be our final airplane for our little kind of top 5 for the year. And again, it's not a top 5. It's just things I've really enjoyed flying this year. All right, let's earn it. Let's see here. Bring back the power just a tiny bit. Just going to enjoy the drift downwards. This thing, no. Helicopters are not this easy to fly ever. Like, you're always fighting it. A little bit of right foot. I hate the right foot. My brain's just not used to the right foot here. Oh my gosh, I got it properly that time. Of course, there's no wind, so this is very easy to do. All right, so here's the game. And we're going to get nice and low here. I'm going to get even lower than this. This is pretty low. The rotor and ground effect is so strong in Flight Sim. There is rotor and ground effect in the real world, and it's just as irritating, but it's not that strong. Of course, what does my flight time in a helicopter have to do with anything? So anyway, here's the game. We're going to fly as low as we can. And we're just going to sneak around this neighborhood. Got this little country road. You always see James Bond movies where, like, the bad guys are chasing him in a helicopter or something like that. And you kind of get one of these little things where they're, like, nice and low like this. And this is why I love helicopters. You can't do this in the real world, by the way. You're going to crash. That little thing you didn't pay attention to is going to kill you. Yeah, I can flip this helicopter. There's actually a lot of helicopters you can flip. I don't recommend most of them because they really, really struggle with not taking their own tails off when you do it. What I love here is that we have these two large warehouses with all these garages, yet there's no, like, place to park a car. Just kind of one of those things. Whoops. I really need to be able to move my head here, but it's perfectly fine. Whee! See how I'm kind of bouncing up and down? That means I'm not concentrating properly here. One of these days I'll buy, like, a legit collective from Purple or something like that. That'll be kind of fun. But until then, I just kind of have to put up with dancing with my throttle here, which is not how you do it in the real world. Let's see what we got here. Oh, nice flight, nice flight. Watch this, watch this. You can just sort of skid. Love it. All right, let's go land this thing. Then I'll move on to our last destination of location here. Come up between here. Seems like a legit place to fly. I mean, this is okay, right? Whee! Oh, yeah, there we go. Whoops, not paying attention. Ah, there we go. Now we got to make up for the god-awful landing in the Phantom there. Landing at a runway that was like about 1,000 feet short for us. Oh, nope, nope. And we're down. Oh, I got to crack my back. Okay. Now we're going to be heading to our final location here. We're going to be OTH8, Oscar Tango Hotel Hotel. And you're going to want a high-performance turboprop for this bit here. Ah, smoosh. High-performance turboprop. And people who can guess this one, my members, of course, might recognize this one. Yeah, I know. Helicopters are the people who do the stuff with, like, the K-Max helicopters, which my buddy actually works on. Oh, yeah, I was going to back one of those in. Yeah, why not? Why not? So let's go ahead and grab our final today. And our final airplane, and this will be our last one of our flight here, is, of course, the much-vaunted PC-21. This is an aircraft that there's a lot of airplanes like it out there, but this particular one is incredible. It's really impressive in VR. We're at Hamad International, of course. We're over here in Qatar, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here. It looks like somebody just whoopsie daisies. There's an island kind of a thing like that. We really should be over here at Abu Dhabi or something like that because you have prettier buildings, but I wanted to do Qatar, so too bad. We're going to do Qatar. Let's see, Hamad International, Oscar Tango Hotel, 3-4 right. Looks good to me. Looks like somebody added a friend. That's fine. Press the fly button. Here we go. So Butternips and I, the person who had just made a comment a moment ago, well, we do a lot of DCS together, and you've probably seen our videos. For whatever reason, I'm always in the back seat. So if it's a helicopter, that means I'm flying. If it's like an F-14 or something, it means I'm doing the RIO or something like that. Because he flies a lot of planes. I fly a little bit like more of a helicopter guy. So it's always kind of funny, though, because we do dumb things like, fly under bridges. Or what I'll do is I'll land on the roof of a building so you can spend time getting the targeting system all right. And I'm like, are we good? Okay, we're good. Just take off from the building and go do something else. Just kind of one of those sort of things. So anyway, our final airplane in our little journey today is going to be the PC-21. And the PC-21 is a neat plane that kind of surprised me. It's just one of those things that I didn't expect that I would like so much, kind of a thing like that. I love how you can change what cockpits. You can do multiplayer mode, and external tanks. I actually don't need any external tanks or anything like that. But you can push that button. But the thing I like to do is set the heads-up display correctly, because there's a PC-21. I like how I have inches HG. This is a really, really interesting plane, which kind of one of those things I just did not expect that I was going to like. There's a lot of fun things in it, like you have the pins here for like your ejection seat and shattering the cockpit and all those kind of things, and a lot of little pieces like that that I really appreciate. Like, I really love the detail they put into this. Obviously, this is right off the 787, which is, it's all right. But there's a lot of neat little things in this, and this is a really, really high-performance airplane for its size, and I don't know, I kind of like it, kind of a thing like that, of the oxygen mixture and everything like that. But one of the things that kind of kills me with this one is the sound effects on this are a little weird. Not like a little weird in the sense like they're bad. I think they actually did a really, really, really nice job with this one as far as sound effects goes. But it's a little funky. Like, let me show you what I mean. And that's kind of the part that surprises me. Like when I think of this aircraft, I don't usually think of Mellow. Go back to the systems page here. There we go. It's a turboprop, and it's a really high performance turboprop. Really, really, really high performance turboprop. But it doesn't have like the angry whine of like a 208 or something like that. No! Love this. You just lift the nose up just a little bit, and it just goes up. That is beautiful. Man, that's awesome. And I love the little circular dial for airspeed on the heads-up display. Man, I love details like that because they do this. So the PC-21, it's a very high-performance military jet trainer. And the thing I love about it is you have a back seat. So if I wanted to do all the flying, you could actually run all the instruments back here, and you can do everything. It's actually almost easier to see out this side of the jet than it is to see out the front. Of course, when you go to land it, hopefully you got the camera turned on because there's no way you're going to see it. Also like the fact you can kind of see the heads-up display through the wall, but details. I'm not worried about it that much. Frequency change, Red 64. You know what's interesting? I've never gotten that radio call in my entire existence of operating airplanes before. I've had to go Hartford, Brainerd Tower. I've had to request it, and I've said, leaving airspace kind of a thing, and they'll be like, frequency change, contact 127.8. Anybody's flying on Hartford. Everybody knows 127.8, 123.9 or 5 is the other one that everybody always knows. Depends on who's paying attention up at Bradley, kind of a thing. So our last place today, of course, is Qatar. We're way up here, kind of a thing like that. And the reason I chose this is because I do a lot of stuff with DCS, which is very, very enjoyable. I love what they did it. When DCS gets world terrain, you won't see me ever in Microsoft Flight Simulator again. I'll be too busy dropping bombs on my house because why not? I do it in Command. I'd probably do it in DCS also. But it just would be an incredible experience. Their flight engine absolutely captures so much of what needs to be done in order to make those games good. Love this. If you need to reduce power, it's a single power lever. Just like our good friend a PC-12 here. You just pull back, just crack. Good enough. And you can enjoy a nice little flight here. But I love the fact that this thing is... I'm doing 278 knots here. And that's a lot. Like, I love the TBM to death. It's a wonderful, wonderful airplane. There's, like, very little things bad ever to say. Honestly, it's the airplane of the year forever in Flight Sim. Because it does everything. It lands short. It lands long. It's fast enough. It's easy to fly. The avionics are fun to play with. Like, it's everything you want in an airplane is the TBM 930. But I've had a lot of fun with this recently, especially in VR, because it's just so peppy. And the performance on it's excellent. It keeps things interesting for you as far as going around. Now, we're here in Qatar. Like I said, Qatar. I can never get that one correctly. I remember when they were having, was it the World Cup? And everybody was pronouncing it differently, and I just gave up kind of a thing, trying to keep track of all that, honestly. I need to visit the country and hear locals say it kind of a thing, and I'll get it right. But the desert has its own look. And when, of course, like I look down here, and it's just so fascinating. It's like a combination of just brown, more brown, and then gray. And just, it's flat. So flat. And, you look out the world, and you look out the window here, and it's so much. And I absolutely kind of like, it just fascinates me. And, you always see, I remember in the early days of YouTube, I used to always get these videos of people ghost riding that would be terrifying. Let's ghost ride an airplane. That guy went to jail, by the way. Ghost riding cars, and you see them basically skidding along. You're like, how are you able to find a road that's that straight, that low? 5.5 miles of, basically straight line here. And it's one of those, okay, I can see how I could ghost ride an airplane pretty successfully here. That would go pretty well. So this pretty region, the reason I know this region at all, of course, is Good Friends Command, Modern Operations. When I was doing some stuff, we actually were operating right over here in the Strait of Hormuz. And, of course, you also have Iran, which is right up there. You have Iraq, which is right over there. And, of course, you go that way. You've got Turkey, and then you got Russia way over there, kind of a thing like that. And, of course, if we want to go that way, you've got, Saudi Arabia, you've got the rest of Africa and all those kind of things, all sort of in one region. And that's kind of how I know this particular region, usually because they'd be flying something that shouldn't be here, like a Viggen or something, and firing anti-ship missiles at people who I can't even see because they're over the horizon somewhere, kind of a thing. And it was just always, like, the most fascinating piece. But what's so cool about this region is, like, for those of you who play strategy games where you have to build cities, one of the jokes I always make is, it'd be really nice if everything was just flat and easy to work with. Because anybody builds city builders, like, they hate cities that, like, you have to, like, build, like, a mountain around kind of a thing. Like, you have to knock the mountain or you have to put the tunnel through it or something along those lines. You don't have that problem in this area. You just draw, like, it's, if you put the, what is it called, level terrain feature on, you just dragged and just kept going, that's what you would get. And then like there's no trees, so like you don't take the environmental penalty like you used to get in Sim City, which is another game I played the heck out of, because you could literally just right on through. Then of course people say, well, this could be problematic because how are you going to get roads in? I could do straight lines for roads in this region. I love like big quarry here too. And then of course, like you're putting your city grids and your blocks, and then getting power in is easy because you kind of plan everything out in advance. And then you're like me and you delete the save game and you start for the 500th time, because that's what happens with city builders. A lot of games, honestly. That's the problem I've always had, kind of a thing. Is delete the save game kind of a piece. All right, so where we're heading now is that we're just going to go down the coast a little bit here. We're not going too far. We're actually going to take a gentle left turn, and we're going to head out to sea here and head to one of these little teeny tiny islands that they've got here. Just love the nose on this thing. Just swinging around. There we go. You'll be able to see the island, by the way. It's not going to be too hard. I feel very hot. Like my cheeks are getting like red and sunburny and flushed right now. You could feel the heat. There it is, and there's our destination. Is one of these little tiny tactical islands, I like to call them. Cruise missile targets, radar targets, actually. That's one of the fun things. I like my ground speed is 360 knots. In a turboprop, we're moving. And again, we're at 9,740 feet here. We're not that high. We could go up to about 18 or 19 and probably get another, 15, 20 knots out of it, which is impressive. I'm not even at full throttle or anything right now. Very, very cool. And like I said, this thing's very aerobatic, very, very easy to handle. And I think the runway is going to be like right here when we get there in a few minutes. Kind of swing a little to my left here. So of course, this is a good time to be thinking about, where we're going with our channel, as well as, kind of looking back now that we've had an opportunity to see some of the cool airplanes that have been cruising around. We had a pretty good year. Like I said, this is probably one of our stronger years. Our first year was the strongest. Middle 2 years were okay. We're coming into 2024 in basically 2 days, which is pretty cool. Of course, it depends when you watch this. If you watch this Tuesday, it's going to be different. It'll be 2024. There are things I would like to do, but I'm not sure. The big thing, of course, is anybody knows who produces any content. Time is a big aspect. It's all about balancing, your friends, your family. Hey, how you doing? I'm so excited to see another one of these fly by. That's such a cool shot. Nice. How you doing? It's always time. You're always balancing, spending time with family, spending time, getting my own work done. I teach full time, kind of a thing. I also do stuff there. Are you going to Flight Expo? AV photos. I haven't been to an expo like that since it was held at the New England Air Museum. So there's no way I'm getting out to Vegas. They always pick the absolute worst time of year for me for those kind of a thing like that. Yeah, I mean, if you want to think of it another way, Kevin, going back to that thought, is we started in 2020. I mean, actually, this channel is 2015, if you go back. I did stuff for X-Plane. And we've done, in that time, we have like 1,100 videos, 31,000 subscribers. We're monetized. We did memberships back in late October, which has been interesting. Working with members is fun because they get all sorts of cool ideas. Another thing, of course, that's gone from there is we've expanded a little bit into other games. There's a Flight Simulator 2024 coming out, and I'll probably just start over. I know that sounds like, what? But not start over, but like, kind of do the basics and stuff for kind of folks who are new to the game. And 2024 has a lot of missions in it, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. There's our runway, by the way, kind of a thing. I sound like your old music theory college. What do you do? I teach. That is my profession, my avocation and my profession, vocation. The fun thing there, too, is I teach both at the college level and I also teach at the high school level, which is cool. And I would argue what I'm doing in a flight sim is basically teaching. You get people excited for something, you show them how to do it, and let them figure it out from there. Never tell them how to do every little bit. Let them always discover it on their own. All right, it's time to land. If it just whines like a good turboprop, oh, I love it. Couple taps. And there's our lovely little island. I love these little strategic islands. Of course, if we want it to be mean. Look at how they made this one, by the way. See where the water is? See where the island is? Ah! Isn't that so cool? I love this thing. You just get slammed up against the windscreen here when you pull the throttle back. Like all good turboprops with constant speed props. There it is. Look at how tiny that runway is. We're going to have no difficulty landing on that. Excellent, Chris. What do you teach? Let's see here. Oh, this island, like... Is this like a vacation island? What is this thing? Really, really well-developed runway for a little tiny island that doesn't have a lot of houses on it. I hear something whistling behind me. That is Simon in the VRGO. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I'm not going to comment on War Thunder. My students are always like, "Oh, play War Thunder, play War Thunder." I'm like, no, it's not my kind of game. Music band, fantastic, Chris. Awesome. I love music. Everybody knows that, you know, I'm not going to torture you with the banjo or the guitar or the piano during a live stream or anything like that, but I enjoy playing that. It's very relaxing for me. What was that? 4.5 G's there? 4 G's. There's the buffet. There's the tone. And we're nice and lined up for the runway now. I love the speed brakes here. They come out of the bottom. Seems like a bad place for those, but it really does not interfere with the handling of the aircraft, which is something not all speed brakes. Yes, absolutely. Landing distance on this thing is amazing. And I also love how it has the AO indexer on it. We are so high. Down, 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 down. Of course, with all the speed brakes and everything hanging off it, it'll take us about a second to get all lined up properly. All I'm waiting for is the line at the top there. That line to be pointing at the end of the runway, and that's how you know you're lined up. And speed brakes in. Come on down. Come on down. And there we are. Isn't that great? Notice there's no 1,000 footer. Oh, that was garbage. I just forget how low you are in this plane. That always surprises me. Very twitchy also. Delightful. Delightful. All right, folks. We hope you have enjoyed our kind of, I guess I'm going to call it sort of a 5 airplane around the world sort of journey here. And take a look at some of the things that I've enjoyed flying around with this year, as well as I had an opportunity to kind of share some of the goofy planes that maybe you haven't seen before. I don't like to make recommendations as far as things to buy or purchase or anything like that. It's just not for me, because people do a much better job. You make your own decisions on things like that. You know, I should never have to encourage a review. But it's been a great year, and I hope that 2024 is also a great year for us. Like I said, we basically have the opportunity here. I've already got the picture, by the way, so don't worry about people behind me. It's been a great year for us, and I hope it continues to be a great year for us, because, you know, I enjoy doing this. And, you know, I intend to continue doing so as long as I'm able to, kind of a thing like that. One thing that I'm always nervous about is, you know, time and money and resources and stuff like that. It's just cool. It's just cool. Have a good one, Kevin. So, of course, we reached the end, and that was a very, very successful flight. Everything went smoothly, except for that garbage landing with the Phantom. And I feel like I'm not satisfied yet. So, I'm going to go ahead and go swimming because, you know, we did a little bit of float plane work today, and I feel like this is kind of a good opportunity to do so. I wish I had some fun preview for you. I got a surprise one on Friday, I guess. You probably wouldn't see coming, but that's kind of it is. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Come on, right turn, right turn, right turn. Next week's a little weak. Normally, it takes me about 2-3 hours to do my flight sim for the week, so to speak. It took me 4.5 because I kept running into bugs, kind of a thing. Yes, thanks, AV Photos. Appreciate it. And of course, for everybody, you know, stay safe out there. For those of you who are pilots, you know, you can always go around. For those of you who are, you know, students frustrated with your teachers, the big thing I would remember is, you know, these people chose to give back. You know, they sacrificed a lot of other opportunities to try to help you, you know, become a better person and learn some things themselves. And, you know, it always bothers me sometimes when people get all negative, like they did this and did that. I'm like, did you ever wonder why they did all those things? Not that I need to defend bad teachers. There are horrible teachers out there, but, like, remember those folks. And, you know, the other thing I would say, too, is, you know, I like to go out to eat a lot. I can get into that in a whole live stream. But, you know, be nice to those folks. You know, they're working. They're doing what they can. You know, it can be hard out there. And, you know, like I said, just for anybody. And, of course, if you're a hardcore gamer and you just enjoy games and all those kinds of things, always think about the people who made the games. You know, those people, they need to eat, they need to relax, and sometimes just supporting the people who make them are pretty important, too, because it's, you know, your way of saying, hey, I enjoy this, let's keep doing it, kind of a thing. And, of course, for my members out there who chose to watch, thank you so much for being members here. And we're going to go swimming here, and we're going to go ahead and call it. I love that giant green X there. I love how stable this plane is, even in an emergency. Let's see if I can get it to snap. There it goes. Woohoo! Let's go swimming. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Have a happy new year, happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Enjoy.